Hi guys, welcome in this another MQL5 tutorial, and in today's video I would like to show you a very simple way how to code an indicator that is going to help you to spot very single movement reversions or changes in market movement. What I mean by that is that this indicator is going to help you to detect areas where the movement of the market drastically changes from the previous movement. So for example, here you can see that the market goes down, and here is a strong reversion of that movement, and we want to be able to spot this type of behavior in the market. For example, the same example is here. It goes down and then straight up. So this is the movement that you want to catch. This can be used in determining when the market is about to reverse or change the trend. Of course, it doesn't work 100% of times, but yeah, it's something that can be really useful when trading. So let's do it. I'm here in my MT5 editor, and I will create a new file, the custom indicator. Let's call it market change, just like this, and we can add some inputs. We will need two inputs for this indicator. The first one is, let's say, area. So this is because in order to spot the change of the market, we have to calculate something, and the area is going to mean like on how many bars we want to do the calculations. So let's set that to 15. So we'll analyze the last 15 bars and then add another input that is going to be called correlation coef. And because we are going to use a correlation for spotting the reversion, we want this coefficient that I will explain later, and we'll set the initial value to negative 0.9. Okay, so this is all we need. And we won't be plotting anything in this case. So yeah, this should be okay. Okay, so just one thing I would like to add is, for those of you who don't know what a correlation is, I will explain it to you right now. So let's get back to chart. And what correlation does is that correlation analyzes two data sets, and it allows you to see whether there's a trend between them or if there's not a trend. So the values of correlation ranges from 1 to 0.1. If it's above 0.5, let's say, that means that there's a correlation, which means that those two data sets move in the same way. So let's imagine that we have the first data set, for example here, which consists of 25 bars, and then we have the second data set that also consists of 25 bars, and we want to compare these two data sets. Let's say we can see that both of them go up, therefore that would be a positive correlation between them. And yeah, so that's the first scenario. The second one is that there's no correlation between them. So let's say this is the data set 1, so it goes like up and down, and this is the data set 2, where it goes down, so there's like no correlation, because there's not a trend in this, because here's like a sideways market, here's like a down market, so there's no correlation. So that would be from negative 0.5 to 0.5. Those are the values that tell us there's no trend. And then what we have is negative correlation. That means that those two data sets go in the opposite direction, and that's something we will be interested in. So for example, this is the second data set, so it goes straight up. This is the first data set where it goes straight down, and in this case there would be a negative correlation because this goes down and this goes up. So that's how the correlation works, and that's what we will try to spot in our indicator. So let's start. Okay, so we don't have to do anything on this on init function, so we can move on to this on calculate function. Here on the global scope, I will, or let's do it right here, I will initialize two arrays. Those will be arrays for those two datasets that we will compare, and the first one is going to be current values, and the second one is going to be previous values. Okay, so this is the array for the current dataset, and this is what we will compare it with. So this is it. Now we have to resize the value, the arrays. So array resize, let's say we want firstly for current values, and it will have a size of the area input right here, and reverse size is 0, and we'll do the same thing for previous values with the same size and also 0, and we can initialize those arrays as well with 0, and array initialize previous values with 0. So this is what we need to start with. Okay, so let's continue. Now I will just type some code here so we can loop through the history data. So this is how it looks like, and then we will assign new value to I variable is total -1. So this is what we need. Now what we need to do is to populate these arrays with the correct values, let's say. So we'll do that right here. What we can do or what we can use for this purpose is the array copy function, where we will copy values from one array to the other one. And yeah, let's use it. So destination array is going to be, let's start with the previous values. So we want to copy some values into the previous values array. And source array, that means from which array we want to copy or to get these values. We will use the close array, which is defined right here in the onCalculate function, and this this close array consists of all the close values we have in our that we can use. Let's say it like that. Destination start is going to be 0 because we want to start from the start, but source start, that's not going to be that simple, because we want to start at the position I, that's for sure, and then if we go back area, Then we have to collect the area values, so we would end on the I. So let's do it like this, times 2, and we want to copy only this number of values right here. Okay, so this is it for the previous values, and we'll do the same thing for current values. The only thing that we are going to change is this. Okay, so this is what we need. Now what we have to do is to import a new class. So let's say include, and now if I get this correct, I hope so, math, how was it, normal, maybe, just one second, stats.mqh. Let's see if that's okay. This is not it, so just one second. I will open another indicator that I've created here where I imported this. Maybe stat. No, just one second. Change of market. Math stat normal. Okay. Let's import it here. So we have this, and yeah, now we can access the correlation function. So let's create a new variable right here. So double correlation, and in this variable we will store the correlation coefficient. So math correlation, let's use Pearson's method, as it's the best for the time series values. So the first array is the previous values, the second array that we want to compare it with is the current values, and we will store the result in this correlation. And what we will do is to comment out, and we want to, okay, if array minus I is lower than 5, then comment correlation. Okay, let's check this out. So now if I go back here and I run the strategy tester or tester for market change, and let's change it to some forex. Now we should see a comment of this correlation. Okay, so yeah, we can see that it works. So for example, at this point we have no significant correlation, so it says that it's gonna be 30 bars, so over this period we don't have any correlation, which is quite true. So yeah, this works. Now what we want to do is to be able to spot those movements where correlation is significant, and we want to display them on the chart. So let's do it. I'm thinking about creating one object for the indicator so we can visualize it better, and maybe it would be a good idea. So or I don't know, I will decide later. Let's proceed with what we have in here. So if correlation is lower than correlation coefficient, then we can say that we have spotted reversion. Okay, so this is like our condition for spotting the market reversion. And now I'm thinking about what to do right now. We can either create a rectangle in that or no, we'll do it very simply. So if correlation, so if we have spotted the reversion, we'll just create an object. Yes, we'll create an object, so reversion plus I, object arrow, let's say just arrow 0 time I and low I, object set integer, so I will just modify the object a bit, so object prop color, let's say color yellow, so it's nice and visible, object set integer 0 reversion, so reversion plus I, object prop width, let's say 3. So if I compile this, now there should be some arrows if I start this program, and yeah, they are right here, for example at this point. And this is quite true, because as you can see in the previous bars, there was this movement down and movement up, and at this point it catched the movement. So this is what we want to see. Of course, as I said before, it won't be accurate, or it is accurate, 100% it is accurate, but if this reversion happens, it doesn't mean that the movement has to continue. So for example, in this case, there was a down market and it just went back to some resistance area right here, and then it continued back down. So that's what happened, and that's completely okay. Another area happens right here. As you can see, it went down and then up. The same thing here, down, okay, then up, and at this point it gets the signal. Okay, so this looks pretty well. Down, or this is questionable if this is something we want to see. I wouldn't be so sure, but if we continue, yeah, this is something that works pretty well in my opinion, because it catches those movements. So down, back up, or in this case it goes up and then down. So it can be used in multiple ways. For example, okay, so this works pretty well. What I would like to add is one more thing, and that is to visualize the area we are trying to analyze. So if this limit I is lower than 2, then we want to create two objects. Object firstly delete, okay, so this is like this, and this is going to be first rect, and I will take this, copy it here, let's say second rectangle, okay, and now we want to create those objects. So object create 0 first rectangle, object rectangle 0 9 time I minus area, and now we want to catch the highest point, for example, so high array maximum. From the high array, start is going to be I minus area and area. Okay, so this works for us, and then let's say time I and low array maximum, minimum, and the same thing, low I minus area. Okay, so this is just like creating the rectangle for the current values, and Now first rectangle, second rectangle, we'll do the same thing for this. I'll just add these snippets of code and it should be working. And yeah, we can change the color as well just to make it clear. Object set integer, so 0. First rect object prop color, so let's make it color white, for example, and let's do the same thing for the second, but in this case we can make the color, for example, blue. Black wouldn't be visible on this chart. Okay, so if I compile this and run it again, then we should see, yeah, so here you can see those two areas that we are comparing to each other, and as you can see, it's really like small data sets. So what we should do in this case is to change this variable right here and let's say 50. So now we are comparing quite large areas, as you can see. So the results we will be getting should be pretty much more significant. Okay, so we have some signal here, so we can imagine that it went 100 bars back. So from this point it went up and then down. So here we are catching the strong reversion, and the same thing happens right here because we go 100 bars back and it went down and then up. So at this point we are catching the signal. Okay, the same thing happens right here, goes up then down, and then it continues. Yeah, so the same thing here, up, down, and here it catches the reversion. Okay, so from what I see here, this indicator could be used in like such scenarios of trend continuation. So what I would do here is not to go against the trend, but with the trend. So for example, in this bull market, you see that it goes down, and so you wouldn't act upon this signal because this is like goes up and down, and then here you are waiting for the movement up because it went straight down. So this is not what you want to see. What you would like to see, for example, okay, we don't have any examples here, so what I do is to make it less sensitive, for example like this, and we have more signals. Okay, now we have a lot of signals right here. So what you would like to do is to go with the trend. So for example, at this point you can see that there's a downtrend, and here you have some signals of strong reversion. And yeah, in this case you can say something like, okay, it should go down. There was a huge movement down, then there was a correction, and we are getting this signal. So in this case it should continue down because there was a down movement, correction. In this case you are receiving the signal and you are waiting for the price to continue with the overall trend. So this is how would I use this indicator. The same, okay, this is not the same thing, or maybe, because you would have to ask yourself if you think this would go up in the current trend or not, but that's something you have to decide for yourself. Okay, so this is it. This works pretty well. I will add one very simple thing, or one very simple function, and that is what happens if the correlation is larger than the correlation coefficient multiplied by 0.1, so we get the positive value. But the idea behind this is that we want to be able to spot those movements when the market like goes in one trend. Okay, so we want to spot not only the reversions like this, but the trend continuation movements as well. So this is all we have to do in order to catch those trend movements, and we will rename it just to say trend, and let's say color lime green, so we can distinguish and yeah, let's see what we get. Okay, so for example, in this case, okay, let's continue a bit and let's check what we get here. So if we analyze from here, what we can see that at this point it catched a strong reversion. This strong reversion because we don't have any prior trend to this. This is not something significant for us. The significant part comes at this point where we can see that there's a strong positive correlation, which means that the market goes in the same way, and that's something we want to see. So at this point we can be thinking about continuing with the trend, therefore selling. The same thing comes up here. We can think about selling at this point, which would lead into a profit as well, but this is something you have to decide for yourself. Next thing, what happens right here, we have a strong reversion, therefore because there isn't any prior trend to this, we can say that maybe possibly there will be a start of a new trend. Okay, because that's something that this implies. And okay, so we start the bull trend, and here we can see at this point it says there's a trend confirmation, so we can enter long here, the same thing here, and it goes nicely up. Let's visualize something more here. So okay, same thing here, it goes up. Here is the trend confirmation, and it continues to go up. Here I wouldn't be so sure. This goes down, so this tells us go down with it. Maybe we should, but that's questionable. Okay, so this is how it works. It's very simple and pretty effective. I want to try one more thing, or one last thing, and that is to decrease the area, for example, to just 30 values. So because there's a downside to using either too large value or too small value, because with large values you will often get the signal too late. Okay, so the move happens, and with too large values to analyze in here, for example 50, as you could see, we received those signals pretty late, so that's something we would like to avoid. And also the same thing is in case you use too small values. In this case those signals are not that strong, because it only analyzes like the most recent values, and that's something we want to avoid as well. So what we can do is to change the values, and let's see how it goes. So here we get a beautiful signal, but yeah, there was a reversion, but it goes with the overall trend. Reversion right here, that's nice. Trend continuation at this point, trend continuation at this point, trend continuation at this point, so it goes down. Okay, so it seems like this is much better value for the indicator than the 50 or 15 trend continuation, trend change. Okay, this is questionable trend change, so it goes up, down, and because we are in a bull trend, then we can say that it could be continue with the trend, and the same thing happens here, trend continuation. Okay, so this was pretty simple. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.